We split off, or like we had some conversations about what we were gonna do while on this cool ocean-like planet. Um, there was I can't remember exactly, but there was like some really obvious iconography that sort of related to the plague bearers that was obviously of interest to Tausch as well as Atlas. Um, they made contact with someone aboard the ship, some sort of like researchers, cool guys. Names are escaping me because my brain is, you know, I'm negative IQ points like overall, so
I'm sorry.
I'm just doing my best. Um, so Tausch decides that he wants to like go aboard and sort of talk to these people, investigate what it is that they're doing, and check to make or because just to see if everything's ethical and everything's above board with some information and some help from Crane, from what she knows. Um, so after a bit of discussion amongst some of the party members, Racilia, Atlas, and Zevi and Lux all decide to head towards the planet. Zevi making her way to Shale Tooth, who she had heard about from Mithka, and the rest doing some shopping and sort of getting a feel for the planet, where Tausch and Crane went aboard the ship. Tausch requested that Crane do some sneaking around while he got the grand tour. So Crane went invisible and has been, keeping an eye around the ship. Zevi was also able to speak to Mr. Shaletooth, make a couple of working arrangements, and get Racilia some information on her mother. Atlas was able to pick up some shopping items as well as secure some less than above board and perhaps questionable meal substitutes for Zevi. um, and whereas Lux sort of did the same. Um, we ended last session with Shale Tooth, the humble shark man, sort of twisting, contorting, turning into something different, and asking about a spear.
Yes, indeed. And picking up right where we left off, um, you see the transfigured form of Shaletooth, covered from head to toe in these once mundane-looking scars, but have now evolved into more like sharp cracks, like broken porcelain almost across his skin, glowing with what looks to be like a vibrant sapphire blue from underneath, with the irises of his eyes also now illuminated and radiating that same kind of sharp blue energy. Lakathon spear, Mish. Do you remember anything at all about its possible location?
What is your interest in my mother's spear?
If you want me to be honest with you, Mish,
No, I'd prefer you lie.
there is a bit of a stir happening within the Celestial Courts. Things are beginning to shift. Tides are, alliances are starting to be forged right and left. New policies are being proposed within the Upper Elysian courts. Stuff that very much relates to the Void. Stuff that other Celestials might not be too keen on pursuing. There's talks of potentially another astral war coming about. The spear would just help me make sure that I'm on the winning side, is all.
As I am fragmented the way I am now, my memories are limited, but it was my sorrow that drove me to pick up the spear in the first place.
He nods at that.
This I remember.
I do appreciate you sharing what you can, but if that's all that you can bring about, that's perfectly fine. Again, just wanted to pick your brain a little, Mish, that's all.
I remember losing it when I lost my life. I remember why I picked it up, where I got it. I imagine this is not helpful to you. It is things you can find in antiquated history texts.
Right, and when Raphael killed you, all those millennia ago,
She
you wouldn't
nods.
happen to remember exactly what direction your spear wound up drifting in within the astral plane when he sundered your soul, do you?
She shakes her head now. I do know, however, information that might be useful to you. But she sort of smiles. If you were to pick up my mother's spear and wield it in this war, what would you do with it after?
Hmm. I had a bit of an idea, miss, he says, like his sharkish grin starting to grow a little bit. I was going to offer it as a bit of a present of sorts. To the person I think would be the supposed victor of such an engagement, so to speak.
He smiles. I do not. Sorry, I'm trying to find my words. Although, I imagine since you still seek information that you have not gained anything of use from my ambition.
No, it would seem that ambition did not remember the spear at all. Besides vague recollections of using the spear to achieve said ambitions. But, again, such paltry information means nothing to me. Care more about facts and locations more than ideals and such.
As sorrowful as I am, I do trust in the vessel I am currently housed in. Honest. I believe she is incredibly capable of bearing more than one shard, and it is charity that she covets next. Perhaps when I am, and we already have ambition somewhere, perhaps once I am more together, I can put together pieces of my memory, help you more.
You were honest with me. Time I'll be a bit honest with you, Enmish. The echo of Setivarus, has been ringing out throughout the courts. He hasn't finished his sentence, but his due date, so to speak, is coming up soon. The Celestial Courts believe that this will be probably the biggest shakeup that we've had in the hierarchy since Sovereign went comatose so long ago. Things are gonna change when Setivarus is back up in the Elysian throne. One prophecy that he was able to get by was that Vothoria's rightful heir was going to appear soon. And pieces were gonna start coming back together now. Whether that be you, or rather, sorry, not you, your vessel, so to speak, Zevi. Whether it be her, whether it be someone else out there amongst the spiral, I don't know. Can't claim fully, but if it is her, you're going to have to keep good eye on her. Keep her safe. Things are about to get real rocky.
She nods.
As you know, there's not many, those in the upper courts, I should say, that aren't very sympathetic to the Void. However, as time has passed, and has various occurrences have happened throughout the spiral, the shattering of Enrathos and other like-minded events that have happened, there have been more and more growing concerns that the way we've been doing things just ain't stacking up. There is potential for you to bring about change, actual change. You can convince them, the upper courts. I know at one point you despised them. I would just like to offer an accord, so to speak. We're not all like that.
And you answer to them, the Celestials.
I answer to myself and my own conscience. That's why I took up a mortal form. Hid myself away in some backwater planet on the farthest edge of the outer rim, far away from the further innermost courts of Elysium and Celestia. I know what I want. I know what my constituents want. But all it comes down to in the end is if you're willing to parlay. You could tear it all down if you want. But I think some real good can come from an alliance, so to speak.
He nods. Perhaps we can speak again when I am feeling more charitable.
I gave you my Shinden stone already, didn't I? Or maybe I gave it to your vessel. Don't really remember now. But if and when the time comes, take a hold of that shark tooth I done gave you. Give me a old ring. Maybe, well, we can come to terms on something when you've had a little bit more time to think about it, yeah.
This is agreeable.
Glad we can see eye to eye, miss.
I'm sorry I could not be of more help.
You helped me out in more ways than you think, miss. I've always had more of a sympathetic eye for sorrow, see? He then kind of like looks like around to make sure no one else can see, and he leans in a bit to Vatharia while saying, "Oi, but don't tell my boys that, yeah?"
Your secret is safe with us.
Now, whether or not you reveal the information that I'm a Celestian to them, that's up to you, truly. But I would ask that if you do share that information out there, that you would keep it to your group selves. I don't need Celestians breathing down my neck while I'm trying to operate, you see.
Until I have cause, your secret is safe with me.
Sounds good to me.
Zevi, however, has been known to be a bit spiteful, so I would not cross her. She says with a smile.
Well, I don't think I've crossed you yet, nor do I have any plans to.
Very well. If you have any other questions for us, I believe Zevi has given you her. She like gestures vaguely to like the phone in her like pocket. You can communicate like this, or what have you.
Oh, right, I gave you my number. Silly me. I forgot about that. Well, in any case, you see then that Shaletooth is going to, like, take a deep breath in, and you watch as the cracks begin to recede back into the various amounts of scars that are littered throughout his body. They begin to dull and fade, and the light in his eyes begins to dim as he takes on his mortal form once more. He was once levitating, but now he gently, like, plants himself to the ground, his form shrinking. Well, in any case, I'm sure that you will all have a lot to do before you leave my precious Mordona. So I think I'll just leave you all to that then. Get out of your hair.
You know
One can
your
only
way.
tolerate.
You know your way off the ship.
I think I can find my way out, he says with like a grin.
All right, then you may leave. She like hand waves.
Oh, it would be my honor, he says with like a very like shit-eating grin as he like does like a very like put on like fake bow with like one arm out, like very dramatically, like looking up at her and winking before making himself
Next
stand
time you would
upright,
ask,
rolling his shoulders.
and next time you would ask something of me, please do bring fruit.
What would you like? So I can get an inkling of what kind of appetite you have, Mish.
I am partial to pears.
You like pears. Alright. A little bit hard to find underwater, see, but I think I can get him imported.
That would be wonderful.
I'll make sure they're not too waterlogged by the time you get him, Mish. He says as he begins to open the door. Oh,
Ooh.
and before I forget, he's gonna turn his head to look at Vitharia from over his shoulder. Hmm. That spear.
Mm-hmm.
You think the rumors about it are true? I know you can't really remember much, but
Which rumors?
that the spearhead is a shard.
That would be interesting.
It's never been confirmed, see. Spear was lost when you died, but there was a rumor that an unidentified shard was placed at the top end of the spear, see, before you were fragmented. I mean, you ripped it out yourself at some point.
She has no
Or
memory of
someone
ripping
else
out a shard, does she?
No.
This is not something I have any memory of. But it does sound very dramatic. Something I would do.
He actually gets more of a hearty chuckle out of that, uh, you're funny, Mish. Very funny. Alright. Well, whichever way the wind blows and the sea rises, I expect I'll meet you on the fields of battle at one point. I just hope we're side by side, instead of facing each other from the opposite end.
I hope so too, for your sake. Zevi has grown fond. She finds you amusing.
Me too. And at that point, he's just gonna give a very curt nod and then begin to make his way off the ship. As he does, you notice that a lot of people that like the general crewmates that are just working and trying to have a normal day, as soon as they see him and his fucking spiked iron knuckles and broken chain arm guards, he begins to just give a very deep "oh hello there" to each of them, and they just fucking scatter right and left. They're fucking horrified of this fucking thing.
Vitharia will immediately leave the room and follow just far enough behind him that they're not both walking towards the same place and they don't have to awkwardly keep talking.
Yeah. Okay, fair. At one point, I think if he noticed, he would turn his head around and get well, now Mish, you're just making this awkward if you're just gonna keep following me all the way out, see.
You've reminded me I should pick something up. And she'll head off to the shop, basically, like a general store.
Sure. Before we pivot, can I get a quick idea of what you would like?
Pair of sunglasses.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, you could find one easily for let's just call it a quick, easy 5 copper.
Really leaning into the blind look.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Ooh. Okay. Pivoting from there real quick, we're going to kind of keep to what's happening outside of the station right now, at least, for the time being, until we run out of stuff here. So I would like to first go to Ray Cilia. What do you think Ray would be doing, either while that was occurring or after, or in the interim?
Is this on the station?
So sorry. So you guys would be. Wait, did you go back to the ship? I'm trying to remember now. Because I know you didn't go to the plague station, right? I'm pretty sure.
She went with Atlas
Yeah.
at first.
So they went
She-
planet side.
Yeah.
Did shopping, met with Shaletooth already, and then Shaletooth gave both Ray and Zevi information, I believe, and then they were taken back to the ship. So I don't know if you would have gone up to the ship after Shaletooth did, or if you would have remained planetside.
I don't know what there is on planet side that would be left. Like what is there else to do there?
Yeah.
Other than information gathering, that's like the only thing.
Yeah, sure. Would there be any more information that Ray would like to look into while planetside?
Dane's curse, the void, psionic stuff, and Helvatia.
Okay. And Helvatia. Okay, so was that 4 or 5 things?
4.
Okay. So instead of making this a ride or die all on one particular roll, what I think I'm gonna have you do is roll an investigation check per topic.
Yeah.
With DCs that are going to be fluctuating depending on how difficult it is to get information on specific topics.
That's fine.
So going down the list, you said
Dane's
Dane's Curse first.
Yeah.
Okay. That one's going to be a bit difficult. I
That's
would
fine.
say probably in the ballpark of DC 1920-ish.
Let's go.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
On the money.
On the money, yeah. Okay. Before I get, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna go to the server or the session info, and I'm going to just record really quickly.
What I find.
Not just what you find, but the number that you hit specifically per topic.
Ah, okay, and then you get back to me, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
There will be information that I can give you, like right here and now, that I know off the top of my head, and then other information that I will probably either have to go back into my notes or I will have to do a quick write-up of. But everything that I can answer, that I will. So, okay, 20 for Dane's Curse. Okay, next topic was just the Void.
Yeah.
This is a much lower DC. This is probably closer to like a DC 16, 17. 20 again. Okay. Oh, and by the way, for every variable that you go above the DC, I will give you more information depending.
Yeah.
So, Void. 20. Okay. Next is wait, sorry. What was after?
It was Helvatio.
I remember Helvatia being in there. That's going to be very, very hard. We're looking at a DC 23, 24. Wow. 25. Rolling hot tonight, Storm. All right.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, we
There's
just
not
gotta
even gonna be
avoid
combat. I'm gonna die.
You're gonna be
I'm
hanging off
gonna
the back of the
die.
spaceship after you get pushed off.
And then stuff about psionics. Just trying to figure out her powers. Mainly spatial disposition and
Okay. This one's pretty easy.
telekinesis.
I would say that this is probably one of the easier topics since you're in a spacefaring society. This one's probably around the ballpark of a DC 12, 13. Yeah, okay. 18. 18. Okay. Was that all, or was there any other topic that you would like to look into? Because, like, if I remember correctly, you all are staying here for like a full 24 hours to let the ship refuel and get
That's
everything
all off the
set.
top of her head. Maybe if there's anything else, it would be anything related to like modular crossbows and like bolts and that
Okay.
sort of thing. Maybe ideas for bolt.
Yeah. Yeah.
crafting.
Okay. Not quite as easy as psionics, but not quite as niche as like Helvatia. So like, I'd say in the ballpark of like 15, 16. 17.
I just was like landing really close to the fucking mark for a lot of these.
Mm-hmm. Was that 17? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mark that down. Oh, actually, I should label that as racially research. Okay, and so I get a better idea. When it comes to Dane's Curse and the Voids specifically, and I guess this could go for psionics as well. Did you have any specific ideas for like either particular questions that Ray had that she was liking that she would like to have answered, or like any particular topics, like subtopics about these topics that she would like, or is she just going for like anything she can find?
She wants to find out the nature, like the exact nature of Dane's curse and how to fix it.
Okay, makes sense.
In regards to the void, she doesn't know much, so just about anything.
Mhm.
The more sensitive, the better.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. In terms of information that I could give you right now off the top of my head without having to write anything down specifically. For Dane's Curse, I said the DC was like the ballpark of like 17, 18, right? I think somewhere in there.
I beat I beat most
Yeah.
things like. I think
By,
you
like-
said 20, like 1920 for Dane's curse.
Oh,
actually.
19. No, I think, yeah, you might be right. I think it was like 19, 20. Yeah, okay.
Void was lower.
1920, Void was a little lower. Havati was really high. Sonics was like low. And then, yeah, okay. Okay. With Dane's Curse, there's nothing in the specifics of like of the specific curse that Dane has, but what you do find that kind of is like a breaking lead for you, I would consider it, is that you kind of find the classification of what kind of curse it is. There's a chapter that you see within what looks to be because I imagine that you're like in like a library and you ask like a clerk to help you like find like books of information on this, and as you're taking like a day to study, this clerk would be assigned to you and be like grabbing you books and like laying them on your table as you are like pouring through things. And when you get to sections on curses specifically, you find like at the beginning very, very like generalized like oh, these are like the basic like schools of curses, like these the types that you get from like mummies and like all that other kind of stuff. And it's stuff that you probably would have like heard of at least in your studies back on Venerathos, or just from like proxy from stories from either of your parents, or your tutors. But it's not stuff that is necessarily helpful to you, because like to be honest, like most of them would be like oh, like you
Irrelevant.
have to either go through a entire process, or you can just cast remove curse on it, like
Yeah.
as a manner of treatment, which obviously doesn't work for this particular situation. Where you do find a breakthrough, though, is in a very, very ancient medicinal text, that the clerk that was assigned to you didn't seem all that confident in,
Confident.
but thought, you know, maybe throwing this in there because it does deal with like ancient interpretations of diseases that were then later on, like in the future, discovered to be, oh, these weren't diseases, these were curses. One of which being weird, like shifting marks, whether they be bruises or almost tattoo-like figures on the skin. And as that looks familiar to you, you begin thumbing through it a bit faster. You begin to realize that using this with crossing this information with other books of text that you find that are pretty much equally as old, you discover that this is what is known as an untrotic curse, which I will put it in the
Chat.
in the chat. Yeah. Untrotic curses come in numerous different forms. They usually have to relate to the body in one way or another. Sometimes the blood itself is cursed. Sometimes it can be the skin of an individual. Normally, in order to place a curse this powerful, the entity has to be around Archlich in strength. Or Archlich, or yeah, there we go. Yeah, it has to be around an Archlich in terms of like, which are very relatively rare. There hasn't been like, so like the process to become a lich is, I think, something that on Venrathos at least has become very much a studied science. Especially where you came from, Racilia, because on the southern end of Zul'Thas, where you grew up, on the surface level, there was a really, really nasty undead insurgents that nearly took over the planet, like, back in the Second Era. You guys are currently in the Fifth. But back in the Second Era, there was, like, a really, really devastating undead plague that, like, washed over the planet itself. And that was run by a triad of liches. And Archlich is basically a lich that has obtained an amount of power to sacrifice other liches to achieve like an even higher form of ascendancy. An Archlich is basically like one step away from becoming a death god, which is the highest form a lich can achieve. But you would know that an untrotic curse usually is strong enough to curse an entire bloodline. It can be passed down from generation to generation. It is very much a generational curse. Usually the only way to break such a curse is through magic strong enough to be considered that of a wish spell. Now, I don't know if I've gone over wish magic much in this campaign so far, but it is not magic that the normal spellcaster can attain normally. Usually it can be only attained through the direct contact of a Jinn or Genie, or through an item that has the ability to cast it. And usually when an item can cast it, that item breaks after its use.
Okay.
And I'm going to put like the amended version in the session. But
Yeah, I've been writing down notes
fair.
for once.
Nice, excellent. Okay. Now, when I say through like a wish spell, that's not the only way to cure such a thing, but it has to be magic of that caliber. Whether it be a remove curse of 9th level, whether it be a wish spell to remove the curse, or whether it be just any creature that is capable of healing at a 9th level or higher capability can remove the curse.
Okay. Cool. Feel free to, in between my research dumps, to do other people and then come back to me so that I'm not
I was
hogging.
actually no, I was actually considering that. So, in the meantime, we're going to pivot. Atlas, are you here currently?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so while you guys are still on Mordona, is there anything that you think Atlas would like to do, whether it be research or whether it be maybe looking for a bit more of like what I know is on your personal list of things that you would like to either attain or do? You guys still have about, like, I would say 18,
Are
maybe
there
19 hours before departure.
2 questions? One, are
Sure.
there temples on this planet?
Yes, actually, yeah. In terms of temples on the planet, let me take a look here at my deities list real quick. There are a lot of temples dedicated to... Aquarius, the god of water. There is also a few temples dedicated to Gavaniath, the arbiter of the wild hunt. Oh, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, hold on. I'm gonna really quickly copy this link real quick. I'm gonna add my gods list because I forgot I finished it recently. I haven't done the exact, like, I've basically got the names and the domains. I haven't gotten the what should we call them? The anathemas and the edicts of each god fully done yet, but it'll at least give you like a better idea of what various deities are like in the universe. But I'm gonna put these in world lore. Oh, it'll also give you an idea of which ones are alive and which ones are either missing in action or dead. But yeah, so Aquarius, Cavaniath. I would believe that there's probably maybe 1 or 2 temples to Locus as well here. One thing that I would say is that sovereign temples specifically are ones that are probably the most prevalent, just because sovereign is pretty much like the equivalent of like a an Odin or a Zeus in this pantheon. The one above all, basically the overseer of the entire pantheon. Currently stuck in what would appear to be something of an eternal slumber, but still ever listening and ever present. His temples are probably ones that you would run into the most, just because sovereign worship, I think, is probably the most popular form of worship throughout the spiral. You would find maybe a couple temples to Augustus, a couple temples to... Oh, actually, Racilia, there would have been a temple to Eltreus near this archive where you're currently looking through stuff.
That was also something I was looking at.
Okay.
Actually, as you put up the thing, I was like, yeah, that she'd actually be interested in that.
Yeah, so there actually would be. Usually when there is a a library or whether it is an archive, a library, or any place where information is passed back and forth. There's usually a temple to El Treyas pretty much nearby, if not actually built into the establishment itself, which is a bit more common. Besides that, I think that's all of the ones that are currently... Actually, there would be a couple temples to Umbranil as well, since the Moon Warden, or I should say Noctra and Umbranil, since both kind of go hand in hand. Goddess of the Moon and tides, kind of, shifting in water and all that kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, sorry, after looking through all this, that's pretty much it, I would say.
All right. He's gonna go visit a temple of locusts and see what they're like. Since he actually hasn't gone to one.
So you're going to a temple of locusts specifically, right? Just to...
Yeah.
Okay. So, you begin to make your way into the innermost temple of locusts. And the first thing that you see as you cross through the doors and begin to enter the temple proper is that there's a lot of murals on either side of the walls to the right and left of you, most of which depict something of a young looking shepherd, clean of face with pointed ears, shaggy white hair, and usually wearing what would appear to be something of very simple garb, sackcloth across the body and legs, holding a shepherd's crook, and usually painted with the stars kind of in the background behind him. And also he's usually depicted as, even though he's depicted as a very simple elven shepherd, you can see a crown of or not a crown, a halo of stars usually depicted right behind his head. 7 stars in total. But you would see various depictions of this entity known as Locust, kind of either talking to groups, small campfires of people imparting knowledge onto them. You would also see him depicted as guiding exoduses of refugees out from one plane of existence to another. And as you're entering the temple proper, you currently walk in upon I wouldn't call it an active sermon, but there is something of you would notice that people are having their heads bowed, hands raised, as there is something of a ceremony happening. And as you begin to look around, whether it be through just looking around, taking in context clues, you would gather that what was happening is something of what is known as a guidance ceremony. Basically, it is a coming of age type thing, a kind of trial to adulthood. As there is currently a very soft, very enthralling kind of hymn being slowly hummed throughout the entire group of people that are here currently. It's not too packed. I would say that maybe grand total there's 16, 17 people in totality here, with what looks to be a high priest at the front, currently anointing what looks to be a young man, maybe a young Triton man, I should say, maybe around the age of like 18, 19, with what looks to be oil, um, in the shape of a crook on top of his forehead. The after this process of initiation is done, you can see that there's like a glimmer of starlight that begins to like sparkle around um, this particular Triton, and the Grand Priest would go, um, "It seems the light of Locus has blessed you this day, child. Go in peace." Um, and the Triton would smile very softly for a moment and give like a very polite bow um, before kind of retreating backwards into towards his family, who kind of like take him like into their arms and kind of just like share this moment together. Um, in which the Grand Priest will then turn to look at you specifically, noting the marks along your arm, and whether you were meaning for this or not, the Grand Priest would then raise his hands into the air a little bit and say, "And lo, behold, another child of Locus graces us with his presence this day. Hold your heads in reverence, my children, for this one is marked." And there's like a few like whispers, mostly of confusion. The term of the marked ones is kind of something more that upper levels of the church would have a more idea of. The general populace and congregation that would, attend these types of ceremonies and rituals probably don't know exactly what that means, but they do seem to hold the high priest's words in reverence, and they kind of bow their heads to you as you pass.
Atlas feels very fish out of water for a moment there.
Fair.
Not expecting that.
Hmm.
He will, as he would probably tell the people, at ease, and then walk towards the high priest.
Hmm.
If they're done.
They are done. That seemed to be like the last set of youths that were taking the initiation, so to speak.
Okay. So I'll walk up to the high priest and look them up and down for a moment. You said I was the second to come by today.
The first of the marked, but not the first outsider in the temple, no.
Okay. Good sir priest, I require your aid in a small matter.
But of course, fellow child of Locus, what could I possibly do to help you this day?
I am on planet for the next, looks at his watch, 18 or so hours. However, I am in need of finding anybody who is a keen and capable planetary prospector. If any such person is on this planet.
And what might you have need of this prospector, so to speak?
Atlas will look out to the congregation that's still there for the time being, and then back towards the high priest. Perhaps a more quiet space to speak on this matter would be appropriate.
But of course. Brother Ajaya, could you lead the congregation in hymns while I take this child of Locus back into my personal study? And you would see that a half-elven, half-Triton man would then very politely bow as he makes his way up to the frontmost podium and begins leading the congregation in what looks to be a bit of just like reverence in him. And you would notice, like, as you're being brought out, that the hymns themselves don't really necessarily like worship Locus necessarily. The hymns are more like personal affirmations of like mostly dedicated towards like helping other people or being a guiding light, so to speak, for others, rather than bringing attention onto Locus specifically. But as that begins to drown out, the further you are now being brought away from the main sanctuary, you would find that there is a very large set of oak doors, and the elder begins to like slowly like bring his arm back, bringing out like a giant keychain rattling through as he picks through the keys before he begins to unlock his personal study, pushing the door open slowly as it begins to creak and allows both of you entry.
How nice is the study?
It's pretty nice. It's a bit messy. It would appear that like there's like old tomes and scrolls that are like strewn about his desk, and manners that like you can tell that this man likes to keep up to, well, not up to date, but like likes to always immerse himself in what looks to be either literature or scripture. What you can't really tell from this angle. But like it's not like completely like disheveled. It is very wide open, and there's like two massive bookcases that nearly stretch to the ceiling, with like a rollable like ladder on each end for him to, you know, ascend and descend as he wishes to search through things. The bookshelves themselves appear to be very thoroughly alphabetized, from, you know, A to Z, or the phonetic equivalent depending on what language it is in. But eventually though, he would like lead you back, and he would set himself down into the grand leather chair across from what looks to be there's also a chair like in front of the desk as well for you to sit in, as he kind of gestures towards it for you.
Alice takes a seat. And then we'll spend the next 30 or so minutes regaling the tale of Minidos and what happened to him very candidly, I will say.
Yeah.
Not leaving any part out.
Okay.
If you catch my drift on that.
Yeah. Throughout your explanation and your kind of regaling of everything that happened with Minidos and the Minidosian people, you would notice that like the poor elder's face begins to grow like more and more somber with like each minute that passes, and offers condolences like every like third paragraph or so of what's being spoken. But and he does seem sincere. He does seem very sympathetic to the retelling that you are giving. And after you're finished, goes, "Oh, well, I must say, my deepest condolences and sympathies towards you and your people, good Sir Atlas. If there is anything that you can think of that either me or my congregation can do, we would be more than happy to lend our aid, especially to one of the marked," he says, gesturing to your to the mark on your arm.
I appreciate it. What I need most right now is a planetary prospector, because as you come to learn, our homeworld is no longer inhabitable. It needs time to heal. But living out in a flotilla in space does not quite appeal to us either.
That would make sense.
So, one of the individuals that I am in of great need of is someone capable of scanning and prospecting planets for not only resources and how well it can sustain life, but how viable it will be to move all our people there.
Well, hmm. He then he scratches at his very long, flowing white beard for a moment as he ponders something. His fingers dragging across his more darkened mustache. Um, hmm. There is one amongst my congregation that might be able to help you, so to speak. Something of a planetary researcher, so to speak, that still spends her time rather just immersed in the culture of what Locust represents. Perhaps I could grab you her contact information for you, help you get in touch.
That would be excellent.
She is eccentric, but I trust that temperament is of no import
I
to you.
deal with a ship full of eccentric people. Adding one
I see.
more won't be a big deal.
Okay, in that case, I will get into contact with her, and I will see if she is interested. Is it alright if I have a dock number for where I can send her should she feel the need to swing by?
We're at Dock 51.
51. Okay. He'll jot that down into a little leaflet that he has on his person.
I'll give him my contact number as well to pass along.
Okay. All right.
And Atlas will look towards all the scrolls in the books, kind of amused to see so much paper. Anything in these books talk about any holy worlds?
It depends on what holy worlds that you're looking for, my good child. If you're talking planets that are blessed by the divine Locus, you would find that his tastes are rather open, so to speak. He says with a chuckle.
You're not
Our
telling
God
me
is-
he's blessed a world that rains diamonds, does he?
Not as far as my texts are concerned, no. If only, though.
Do you have one of these books full of these holy worlds?
I believe I do. Planets that, either Locus himself has touched or visited. Let me see. You see then that he, slowly gets up, his, back creaking a bit as he, goes over to the left side of the room. And then goes, P for planets, 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 planets. He begins to, slowly scale up the ladder, reaching to, the basically P cordon of his books and begins to browse through with his index finger and then goes, okay. The Trials of Locus, a planetary expedition, he says. He slowly begins to pull the book out. It's a very dense read. He has to hold the book in two hands as he begins to slowly step back down. And he takes he brings it up to his lips and then just gently blows to get the dust off of it. Oh. It has been quite some time since I've gone over this one. A bit of a dry read, but it should have the information that you seek. He says he, brings his weary arms up and then places the book within both of your outstretched hands.
Take the book. Kind of weigh it a moment. Hefty.
Well, as you know, Locust is a bit of a vagabond when it comes to exploration. Very, very in tune with mortal kind he is, I would say. He's right up there with, sorry, hold on. Where is he on this fucking list?
Galerius, maybe?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of, Garius, thank you. Right up there with Galerius, in terms of how connected they are to mortal kind. And so, at one point, Locust took it upon himself to go out from the Elysian courts and try to make a foothold onto any planet that had any sign of intelligent mortal life. Talk amongst their people, get to know them. This is a bit of a record of every planet that he spent a significant amount of time with, as well as a bit of anecdotal tales here and there of what he did on said planets.
Atlas will set the book down a moment and reach into his bag and set 25 platinum down. Accept this as a donation to your temple for the book.
My good boy, this is so much, are you sure?
Yes.
He'll then take it and, he won't put it into a coin purse or anything. You actually see that he takes, a, he from under his desk, he brings out, a communion box and, places it down, takes, the small satchel of, he places, the satchel of platinum, after he opens the communion box and places it inside, very gently pats it before closing it and locking it back up. Thank you. We in the church will try to make good use of this coinage.
I trust that you will. I will return one day and return this book, but for now, I think it might be too dense for me to get through, and Amir looks at his watch. 16 hours? If that is alright with you, of course.
Yes, that is very much okay with me. It is my personal honor to be able to assist a god marked in such way.
Atlas nods. Very good. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you're a busy man.
May Locust guide your steps, and I pray that your path to ascendancy be untroubled as much as it can be, he says with a nod.
I appreciate that. And Atlas will take his leave.
Okay.
With the book.
With book in tow. All right. Then, in that case, we're going to loop to Mr. Lux here for a moment. Lux,
Yes'm.
what do you think the small lad would be doing now that he has been left unsupervised?
Well, I figure it's going to be one of two things.
Mhm.
First off, I guess he will check to see if the only other kid in the ship will want to go check out these things called amusement parks. He has no idea what it is, but it sounds like it's amusing.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
So in other
Um,
words, being the only kid on the ship I'm aware of, that's his, like...
I take it you are bringing your coin with you.
Oh, you mean, like, my money?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Lux ain't going with nothing. I mean, he carries his money
Yeah.
with him everywhere. He's an orphan.
Okay.
He carries everything he owns with him everywhere at all times.
At all times. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, you would find yourself.
Especially with this new bag of holding thing he just found.
Oh, so true. Um, so in the meantime, so yeah, as you're like, would you be asking around, or would you just be like looking around for like context clues on like what this amusement park?
I
Possibly,
imagine he
possibly.
probably saw a poster or something when he was walking by,
There's-
right? I mean,
there's- yeah, I would say there's absolutely like posters or like advertisements that like kind of like point in a certain direction for these kinds of things.
a commercial on a television. I get past the perception of 25. He probably saw something.
Yeah. You probably saw something along those lines. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And with that, it wouldn't take you too long. I'll say your passive perception is definitely high enough that you can probably just like following through either context clues given by signs or advertisements, or the overhearing of people talking about them, that you're able to like basically navigate your way over to one. You find what looks to be the first one that you come across, I should say, rather grand, like opening gate. The signage itself reads, hold on. Let me see here. Yes, okay. Sorry about that. The first one that you come across is a quaint little name by the or a quaint little park, I should say, by the name of Meradice, run by the titular Maris Fordring. There is a very grand gate covered in what looks to be like, you currently have your sea bubble on. You've been having to swim like through to like help navigate yourself, and at this like aquatic gate where people are like currently swimming through, you can see that people are like paying their way in. The entry fee, from what you can tell, appears to be like 5 silver to get in and get yourself like a little armband that kind of like gets you access to like to everything essentially that the park has to offer you. And you can see like there's like a mascot that you see pretty much like everywhere of a girl. I would say that like she appears to maybe in her like mid to early 20s, but depicted with like a very large, almost like bobblehead like structure, and you would hear through passing hearsay that she is a entertainment warforged, so to speak, a construct made for just the entertainment of the masses. But as you are brought through, you would see like a very, very tired worker working the gate with like very dark circles under his eyes. You can tell this place is open like almost near constantly. You can see that he like he's wearing like the girl's head, like Maris's like mascot head over like his own head, but you can see his face through like the mesh, and he just looks like tired and beat, and goes, "Oi, do you got family with you, little one?"
No?
Ticket for one, then.
Oh, I did say it, but you probably missed what I said, Josh. He was gonna see if Maya wanted to join him at one of these crazy things.
Yes, actually, she would.
Just
In that
because
case,
he figured something like this would be better with another kid.
yes, and it definitely would be. I did miss that little bit.
Yeah, otherwise, he's going there to rob people. That wasn't his intent this time around.
No, and then he would look at the both of you. Ticket for two, then.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
All right, that'll be one gold piece then for the pair of you.
Of course, yeah, got that right here. One minute. He just reaches into his new bag of holding and pulls out a gold coin.
I should fancy little trinket for a little guy like you. He then kind of like takes the coin from you, and then he's going to like bring out like these two waterproof wristbands that glow with like a neon illumination, clasping one onto Maya's hand and then one onto your hand, and go, "All right, enjoy your stay in Paradise, the greatest paradise under the sea."
Cool. This looks like it could be a lot of fun.
She'll turn to you and say, I have to say, I've never been to anything like this before.
Oh, no kidding. You know, to be honest, I've never even heard of anything like this before.
Okay. Is there anything that looks fun to you? Now, I'm just gonna like, try to describe this as best as I can. It basically is like a one-for-one, almost like recreation of something as grandiose as like a Disney World or mixed with like a Six Flags. Yeah, exactly. Where there's like you could see like a lot of like really fast moving like waterbound shuttles that are like stuck to rails, kind of like gliding through the water with very little resistance, surprisingly, kind of like whipping through and around. You can also see that there's like more like adrenaline filled like drop plunges where there's like a giant tower and like, you know, a massive drop like into what looks to be like almost like a ravine of like a deep sea kind of ravine type of thing happening that's like lit up with like neon. You can see plenty of concessionary stands that are in pocketed air bubbles for people to like dry off in and have a bite in if they want before going back out into the water. As you can imagine, water-themed attractions, there's a lot of the theming, but like not a lot of like the actual application of such like obviously you're not going to get like a huge like splash of water while underwater, but like everything is like very nautically themed. Lots of like references to pirates' coves and sharks and underwater adventures, Atlantean cities, that kind of thing.
I just imagine he looks at the plunge and kind of like shrugs, being the fact that he can literally jump off like 50 feet tall buildings without taking damage right now because he's
that's true.
Because he monked.
That is very true. That is very true. Well, there's definitely some like I would say like more bullet themed shuttle like roller coaster, so to speak, that definitely move faster than he can move. So if he's looking for something a bit more exciting in that regard, there's definitely options for him there.
You probably glance around. He'll look over, see what Maya, if she's noticing anything she's like eyes light up and interested in.
Maya seems okay. So the first thing that she runs into, or that she sees, is it's a little alcove with like these giant, overgrown like mollusks, so to speak, that are like attached to like these like Swiffer type devices, and a bunch of these children are like bumping and smashing like these mollusks together in a little like thing called bumper mollusks.
I knew you were going for that kind of. No, I was like bumper snails was in the back of my head.
Bumper snails, yeah. They move a little faster than snails.
He probably
She
just
seems like her eyes light up with like a gleam of like chaotic energy at like the thought of like bowling some other children over in a giant overgrown mollusk.
Lex will kind of give a devilish just say, "Hey, that looks like fun. You want to go do that?"
Yes, please, let's go.
Ah, great. Let's go.
And she's gonna like grab your hand like excitedly with like both of yours, and then just begin like pulling you along as fast as she can, like over there.
Just imagine she starts pulling him along. Is like he's just kind of like slowly jogging to keep up with her for a sec. And then he's like, "Oh, you want to get there quickly?" And then he just pick her up and dash.
And you dash.
Like
her face like reddens and like lights up a bit, and she's just like laughing and having a good time as you're like, quickly just like carrying her off to the bumper mollusks. The line for it originally it isn't too insane. Maybe about like 7 to 8 minute wait before you all are kind of like assigned your own personal mollusk for you to like. There's like seats that are like kind of like carved into the shells for you to like get strapped in by the staff, who all are also wearing like these big overgrown robotic lady heads. As they are like currently like strapping you in, you can hear like voices over like the muffled waterlogged intercoms, basically like offering advertisements and pointing and like giving like verbal directions from where you are to the nearest gift shop. Very scummy like negotiation tactics like that to try to get you to stay longer. But as you two are like strapped in, let me see, what would I have for this? Because I was thinking originally it would be like like a water vehicle check, but I think like that's based off of Dex. So let's just go with like a raw like Dex check from you.
that makes sense. I was gonna say it's probably Dex. It's not. I can't think of anything else it would be.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else it would be. There's a Dex I think works here. 14. Yeah, so I'd say with a 14, pretty above average, especially when you're going up against nothing but like other children that are like roughly your age. Like maybe the occasional spiteful adult or two that's like trying to like get their anger out in like maybe a less than palatable way. But like you managed to hold your own. You get bumped into a couple times from the side. You get like you take like a really nasty hit, especially from Maya, by the way, who like sneak attacks you from like one of the ends there and like gives like a very chaotic like gremlin giggle before going off to like wreak havoc upon other unsuspecting children. But you're able to hold your own. Would you be playing more defensively or offensively, do you think, as Lux?
Actually, if he sees adults who are like looking like they're having bad days and taking out kids, he would purposely pick on those motherfuckers like crazy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I would say then that like during your time, like while this is happening, you and a particular other like very like spiteful like more of like a corporate type individual in a suit with very tired eyes, slicked back hair that's like starting to like gray at the sides. You two get into like a bit of a specific rivalry. Whenever you guys like see each other in passing, like it's on sight, you two immediately like rush mollusks and smash into each other as hard as you can, sending like the poor little critters like spiraling off to like either end of the arena before like eventually losing each other in like the sea of like mollusks that are like swarming only to find each other and then smash into each other again. And this process goes on, and the whole session lasts for about, I'd say, like 10 or so minutes before you all are brought off of your your mollusks for the next crew to then get aboard and begin again. You see then that like Maya's like just like a little dizzy as she's like wobbling back and forth, and she goes, oh man, that was fun. Oh, I'm so dizzy.
Oh, it was a great time. Always gonna be smacking about and things. So it's nice to actually be smacking about without actually, having to cause concussions.
I have to admit that is very true. Aboard the station, my brother and I, we were never able to experience anything like this. The most fun we ever had was the occasional hopscotch or hide and seek, various like kid activities.
Lux nods, not knowing either of those things.
Upon like seeing your complete I guess lack of recognition at either of those, she's gonna her eyes are gonna widen and go, hold on, wait, you've never played, hold on, you've never jumped rope?
Oh, I've jumped lots of ropes.
Hide and seek?
Well, I've hidden
And
from the
jumped lots.
cops a lot.
Hidden from the, what do you mean hiding from the cops? How did you spend your childhood?
Mostly in a dumpster.
Oh no, she says, and her face drops a bit, and she goes, okay, I
Well,
heard some
to
of
be
the
fair, I
adults-
also spent the other half in the woods fighting animals and hunting things down.
She goes, you know what? I heard the adults over talking or overhearing about some type of delicious saltwater taffy. I'm gonna treat you. Come follow me. She's gonna
Oh,
grab
that
your
sounds
hand
great.
and begin to
No,
track you along.
she mentions food. He grabs her hand.
Okay. And
I would also
you two
say,
are-
not that we'll get to this in a minute, but he'd also keep his eye open because there gotta be carny games in this thing.
Oh, there's plenty.
Yeah.
There's all types of ones. There's feats of strength, accuracy-based ones in the form of throwing darts, which makes it incredibly difficult because you have to fight against the water resistance. But hey, that just adds to the cheapness of the carny game, I imagine. But yeah, any carny game that you can think of is probably here. This place is utterly massive.
So he would probably, when they're going to get their toffee and start eating it, he'd keep an eye on Maya and see if I imagine there must be something which is some giant ass, massive stuffed animal for the prize win thing.
There's a big oversized bear essentially. But it's it's a sea bear with fins and very aquatic themed overall. Gills. It has a very nice, soft, cuddly look on its face. And you can see that Maya's staring at it just in shock and awe that there could be a stuffed animal this big.
Lux, well, that looks like fun. You want to try that? He says, looking at the game it's for, which I'm assuming is hopefully an accuracy or text-based game. Most of them are, so. So just imagine in this place there's a dunk tank, but instead of water, it's actually just dry land.
Yeah, they get dunked into an air bubble. They
Yeah.
just fall flat into sand. Yeah.
But yeah, you probably go check out the game that's for and see if. Oh, hey, how much to play this thing there, Mister?
That'll cost you about it's 2 tokens a try, and you would have found these various converters that kind of are made to eat up your coin and turn it into tokens. 1 silver piece gets you 5 tokens, I'd say.
I'm always tempted to blow all his silver because what the fuck does he need that for anymore?
Fair.
Yeah, he'll blow 4. So he'd blow 4 of his silver, give himself an even 10 left for him and
Okay.
Maya to use for tokens. And he'd take a crack at this thing.
Okay. So, sorry, remind me, which game were you trying to try out for right now?
I'm assuming there's either the knock the bottles down with a ball toss, or the air balloon spike toss, or capture the ducky.
Capture.
The ducky game.
There's a variant, I'll say, on that classic either bobbing for apples or like using like a small net to fish out like something from like a pool. There's also something like kind of like that, but except it's like you get like a very large like two-handed net and are put into like a small arena with a bunch of fish expecting to like grab one, and the color of its scales represents like the rarity of like the
That
prize
sounds like
you get.
something Lux would do. He's used to catching fish from rivers. He did that when he was surviving.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So then, yeah, you're put into the ring. You're given like a bit of protective gear just in case. Like these fish aren't like necessarily dangerous by any means. They're just very very big, and it could hurt to like have one like swim directly into you and headbutt you. But after you're given like the very colorful, foamy, like protective padding, you're brought in there with like a giant two-handed net. Go ahead and make me a. Wait, you have a bow staff, don't you?
I do have a bow staff. That's his
Go ahead and make me an attack roll with it. 25, yeah. You with like a very quick deftness. I was originally gonna make you do like a dex check, but this thing is close enough to a bow staff in size and length already that it's like, oh well, you kind of know how to use this. So you swing, like very sharply with it. Now go ahead and roll me a 1d4 in terms of quality. One being the least common.
Could I argue that he could make
Yep.
a perception check to try to get the best fish?
Ooh, yes, actually, yeah, sure. Give me a perception check. 18. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah, I'll say with how high of a quick like attack roll that you did, plus the perception. Yeah, I'll say that like you are able to see like you would notice that like the fish are of various different sizes. The rarest one being like this very quick golden fish is like the smallest, and the ones that are like the least rare are the biggest and like the slowest that are like basically made for like children to catch. But you have your eyes on like the smaller, more deft like golden clownfish that's like zipping about, and you as your eyes squint, you very like carefully grab hold of the net with both hands, and then just fighting against the current of the water, quickly swipe it up, and that is able to award you a prize on the highest most shelf.
Is the giant bear there?
The giant bear is there, yes.
He will give it to Maya.
She is going to like reach out with both hands and then like grab it, and then she's going to spend, I hope you know, she's going to spend the rest of her time here like choke holding it by the neck like against herself to like keep it from like moving, and she's just going to like hold it and just like rock it around like the entire time. Alrighty then. So while you spend your afternoon there, I am gonna cut quickly back to Racilia. So, Racilia, the next point of information that you were looking at, let's see here. Okay, so we did Dane's Curse. I don't think we've done Void yet. Okay.
We just did Dane's Curse. That was it.
We just did Dane's Curse. And that's right. That's it. Okay. Go to Void then. You're able to find like a couple older texts that the clerk was able to like bring your way about the Void. She seems to handle these particular books with like a bit of like unease, not necessarily like refusing to give you said books, just, you know, a bit wary of the subject matter, since matters of the Void are not typically viewed on fondly in most societies, but, you know, the information is there for archivists and those, you know, into such research to view and peruse at their own discretion. So there is a bit of a history there for you. To give like a bit of a brief addendum, during the era of light, which was an era when the gods were at their strongest, magic was being developed, so to speak, while worlds were being created and colonized by the various gods. There was one god in particular by the name of... Sorry, scrolling through my list. Oh yeah, there we go. By the name of Azekamon, also known as the god of Acer. In your own studies from before this, you would recognize Azekamon, the god of Acer, to be the original god of magic. But you would know specifically, Racelia, that Azekamon would have very little temples or worshippers dedicated in his name. Azekamon is very much a forgotten god, and that is by intention. Azekamon, also who would later become known as the first of the Betrayer gods, was unhappy, very unhappy, when mortal kind began to misuse and break his particular laws of magic, using it to wish for things beyond their means, attain power beyond what should be capable for mortals, and using it to further their own selfish desires instead of using it to help their fellow mortal kind out, slowly began to corrupt Azekamon with spite. And as he became and grew more and more spiteful over the millennia, he became corrupted with the first of what was known as the Void Trace. Kind of like a manifestation of negative emotion that began to corrupt his very being.
Wait, who corrupted him again?
His own thoughts manifestation.
Oh, his own thoughts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Negative emotion is what began to cause the Void Trace to emerge within Azekamon. Azekamon then, in an act of defiance against both mortal kind and his fellow gods, took his throne and placed a curse upon it, and upon, therefore, else, every single other magic user in existence. Whenever a magic user would begin to attain the highest levels of what a magical person can achieve, their blood would then become corrupted by Azekamon's curse. The very first void disease known as the Source Plague. The Source Plague is something that is very quite well known in Venrathos, having only recently been able to be treated at all by the works of a dwarven chronologist by the name of Meridian. He was able to develop something of an antidote, but basically, the Source Plague itself, in more meta terms, when people would start to reach into the 6th and 7th circles of magic, so basically 6th and 7th level spellcasting, magic would begin to ignite the caster's veins from within. And sometimes this can lead to the development of the Source Plague, which is something of a magic plague that begins to fester within the parts of the body that manifest magic. So for divine spellcasters, that would mean to diseases in the heart, to psionic and other types of spellcasters, this would manifest in the brain.
Is psionics magic, or is it separate?
So it's
Because
it is separate, but it's like it's separate in the form of where it's manifested.
So it's kind of like how Ki is magic, but separate at the same time?
Yes. So, for example, that's actually a very good.
Analogy.
Point there. Yeah, analogy. Yeah. Sorry, couldn't think of the word. So there are three main necessary schools or manifestations of magic, I should say. There is Antra, which is developed from the heart and is used to enhance the body. This can be in the form of ki. This can be in the form of divine magic. And that is cast mainly through focusing the heart and blood outward. There is etheric magic, which manifests in the mind. This is the realm of magic that is governed by psionics, telekinetic, and enchantment magic as well. Also comes from this various forms. Most wizarding is etheric magic, and the final form, which is animatic magic, which is developed in the lungs. This is the magic that is used to control nature and the elements, so to speak. This is where druidic magic is based off of.
What about
Um,
sorceress or magic from a pact?
when it comes to that, it depends on the entity or the bloodline that they are inheriting. It can be a bit of a mixed case. However, most of that is ontronic magic, so magic that comes from the heart specifically, or the bloodline.
Okay.
But in any case, the source plague, usually when a caster obtains a level that is beginning to crest into the realm of godhood, I would say, is when this disease would start to manifest in whatever part of the body manifests the magic. So for druids, they would begin to suffer from corruption of the lungs. If they start reaching into 9th level spellcasting, this can even go as far as lungs collapsing. If the source plague is left untreated. In matters of the mind, etheric magic or studied magic, this can manifest in brain aneurysms. And in matters of divine magic from the heart, this can cause heart palpitations and even, something to the effect of like heart attacks, essentially, if left untreated and if using magic continuously without regard for taking the source plague into account. And when Azekimon cursed his throne, all that time ago, there was a division. The void first began to take manifest, and the light was corrupted, and it was then kind of broken into two eternal halves of the light and the void. And that is the origin of the void itself, which is when, basically, that's a very brief summary, but that's just like kind of like what you get from like the first couple of chapters of this book that you've obtained called The Void, A Recollected History.
Okay.
Besides that, if you're looking for any other specific information, I can try to get it to you.
No, she's just learning, trying to understand it a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay.
So is the source plague? Is it now curable?
It is now curable. It is quite difficult to get the reagents to cure it individually, but there is at least a treatment plan for it now. Yes.
Okay.
Before Meridian was able to stumble upon basically creating the antidote for this thing, the source plague, when left untreated, was pretty much just like the final stages of cancer, so to speak. The very veins and body of the caster would become corrupted over time, left to wither and rot until magic was no longer able to be cast at all, or in worst cases, complete disintegration and death. But because of Meridian, this magic is now, or the source plague is now treatable. I wouldn't say it is now fully curable, but it can be stemmed.
Okay.
Okay. In the meantime, before going on to the next topic, I'm going to loop back to Zevi / Vatharia. What do you think, Vatharia
I
would like to
generally
do?
don't think.
Uh, right, of course. Sorry, my bad. What do you think Vatharia would like to do if she's still out at the moment?
Can I phone a friend?
Sure.
Josh, what do you think Larry would like to do?
A very good question. Let's see. Well, it's been a while since she's had full autonomous control, I think, correct?
Yeah. We
I
got
could see her
sunglasses.
doing-
She's wearing them.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I could see her doing one of two things. I could see her either trying to like people watch to see like how times have like changed. Either that or like maybe doing a bit of research on her own on anything that you feel that she would find interesting, since I trust you to, direct her interests. At least in the form of
honestly,
Sora.
anything that you'd want to research would be incredibly difficult to find in a library or a conventional means of research.
Very hard doesn't mean impossible though, so if you want to, you still can.
Let me give me something.
Cool. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I will warn you. That is very niche information. But
Yeah,
mean-
that's what I'm saying, man.
yeah, you can make an attempt, but we're looking like in the DC of like 2930.
I don't even hit that. Like, my investigation is +1.
So you can't find it then.
Yeah.
Mm.
Unless you want to give her the 5% chance that she rolls a nat 20, but like
You know what? I will
if-
give her something if she rolls a nat 20.
but that's like the only chance.
So if you want to take that chance, you can go ahead and make an investigation check.
Crane's not back, is she?
No, she's still on station, I'm afraid.
So,
It's a shame you don't have the other person with investigation.
Mm.
She's doing her own shit.
Yeah, sadly. Looking out throughout the various archives and libraries, Vatharia is greeted with like a bit of like, I will say like a bit of like a just at peace, or actually, you know what? Zevi, could you give me a sanity saving throw, please? 10? Okay. There is a brief memory that is recollected through Vatharia. A memory of being in a library, not this exact library, mind you, but a library similar to this. And just of a time before she was Vatharia. looking out amongst a vast library or a vast selection of books in the midst of her anguishing sorrow, reading over, from what you can tell from looking at this memory, information regarding the void.
When she was Vasha?
Yes.
She'll keep her sunglasses on and try and find that book, I guess.
Oh, find like one of the books that she had originally back
Yeah.
then? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, make me another investigation check.
Oh, I'm really good at these.
Oh. You know what? I'll say that since it's from her memory, I'll give you advantage on this roll. Eight.
That help.
Okay. It did help. It did technically help.
Not by much, but it did.
Are you in the same archive that Racelia went into by any
You
chance?
still have inspiration.
Oh,
But I already got advantage on that.
True.
but then you would get a reroll. Technically
Man,
with
it's
advantage.
+1. Like, sure.
We hit 10.
We hit 10. You know what? I'll take 10. Looking around, you're able
I would imagine
to...
I'm in the same area as Racelia, but I'm not. Like, Vitharia wouldn't seek her out, I don't think.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You do find, like, you remember the spine of a specific book, like, and it's just that spine, like, that same, like, weird celestial lettering that you saw along the back of it that just keeps, like, burning into your mind. And you begin to, like, scan through some of the books in the backmost sections, and then, strangely enough, you're able to find that particular book, and you begin to pull it out from the back end. Kind of tucked away, lost to time. This particular tome, like, very much covered in, like, dust.
Hmm. I'll steal it.
Okay,
No,
give me a...
no.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
okay. Okay.
There would be like, I feel like they stand there in a moment where Batharia's like, why can't I just take this? And Zebi's like, because that's not how you do things. So she's like stun locked in this moment of Batharia's like, but no one will notice. It's fine. And Zebi's like, no, you have to like. Ah. So I feel like she'll give it like a quick like sift through and then try and see how much it would be to buy.
Mhm. To actually purchase the book. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say that the clerk, like, looks over the tome a little bit, like, checks, like, the innermost, like, inscriptions and dates, and says that, like, that this book is a particularly rare piece. I'll say that... Let me see... Yeah, that they'd be willing to let this particular tome go for 50 gold pieces.
If you just stole it, we wouldn't have to pay this. Yeah, I'll pay the 50 gold.
Okay. Transaction paid. You are given the book back. And the book itself is a very in-depth study from a Celestian researcher in regards to how Voidborn and Voidlings are created.
Hmm. Interesting. And how are they created, Josh?
It is a book of theoretical science, as admitted by the author of the book, but from what they believe is that Voidborns, or any such deity or any such creature, spawns typically from a Celestian that is overwhelmed and overcome by intense, intense negative emotion. That succumbing to like these very drastic emotions, because of the curse brought upon by Azekamon, causes kind of like a mutation to begin to manifest within a Celestian's body. And that Celestians, ever since Azekamon's fall, have to be very reserved and very mindful of their temperament, or else fall to corruption and become mutated into aberrations.
Make sure you hydrate yourself, buddy.
Beyond that, though, it also makes note that, simple Voidborn are still, close enough to, let's call it, are still, like, very much close to Celestians in terms of, like, their temperament. They can still communicate, they can still, they still, like, have their own thoughts and desires and all that other kind of stuff. But as they allow these more manifestations of intense anger, sorrow, grief, jealousy, just anything overwhelm them, if they continue to indulge in these thoughts, the mutation becomes more and more severe for a Celestian until they can eventually become something akin to either a Mind Flayer or a Beholder or any other type of aberrant creature. And it also makes note that the first of the Mind Flayers were born this way, through the corruption and mutation of a select group of Celestians, trying to pursue knowledge beyond their means, directly cursed by Azekamon.
That guy. Okay.
But yeah, that is pretty much what you find from within this tome.
I will go home and... Well, I would have went home, I think, before reading it.
Mhm.
Actually not entirely true. You can come back to me. But I need to think on something. And I'll DM you. Give me a sec.
Alright. Atlas, anything else from you?
No, not really.
Okay. Alright. And as for Crane, we've already discussed that we're just gonna wait for next week with Tosh before continuing on that little adventure that's happening in the background. We'll probably start next session up with off with that. But in the meantime, then, Lux, I will get back to you as well here shortly with like what you would plan to do with Maya for the rest of your little day trip down into the amusement park. But I'm going to then loop back to Racilia real quick. So is there any other information that you would like to go over?
Well, just going down the list.
True, Helvatia. Okay. With Helvatia, actually, this one I think I'm probably gonna have to write to you.
That's fine.
This one's a bit more dense, and I don't want to get any of the details like scrambled and forgotten about. So I'm gonna make a document for Helvatia. So we'll loop back to that one, especially since you got a 25. With psionics specifically, and you're talking about like teleportation school of psionics, correct?
I'm gonna sneeze.
Oh, yep.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Advantage.
Um,
Hit left.
Transposition. So yeah, teleportation and like, and telekinesis.
Telekinesis. Okay. One moment here while I try to grab something. I actually have a little magic flowchart that I developed recently, which I think I will share with all of you because it's relevant. Sorry, 1 second.
Very good.
Ah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So if I copy this and I put this here, will everybody be able to see it, I wonder? I'll put it in world lore. This will be... Oh, wait! I think I already put this in the channel. But I'll repost it, I guess, anyway. Oh, I'm in the wrong browser. There we go. Okay. Right. Okay. So the schools of study that you're going for then are telekinesis through kineticism and terminomancy through portals and rifts. Okay. 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 You find a few, like quite a few, both beginner and intermediate, basically like novel textbooks in regards to both telekinesis and terminomancy, which are basically the areas of expertise that you're trying to study in. The book would make a lot of note about how these are very, very powerful etheric schools of magic, requiring a lot of intense concentration, usually in the form of concentrating the power of your mind through an etheric crystal attached to your head, used to siphon and let's say sharpen the magic that is being used. It's kind of like what is able to turn what is in your mind's eye into reality, in the form of like using telekinesis to either make objects do as you command them to, or through portals and rifts by imagining a place of existence and then manifesting it in the form of like a portal that you can jump through. Besides like the very rudimentary beginning opening stuff, you do find a bit in terms of like mechanics, of like how to like sharpen these schools of magic a bit. And I'm gonna say that like if you were to either check this book out or buy it, which it probably would be buy, if you study both the beginner and intermediary books from this, I will give you, like, if you do that as like a downtime project, for example, if you're able to read through both of these volumes, I will talk with you and let you enhance your teleportation in a manner of your choosing.
Okay. How much are the books?
For
And
these books,
how long would it take to read them?
I would say that it would take about a dedicated 2 weeks per book, 1 month total for both.
Okay.
And that's just to like that's not like to just get it from cover to cover. You could probably do that in the span of like a couple days. This is to like absorb the knowledge and like make it into a point of like application for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, she'd probably pick up the books.
Okay. For both books together, it'll cost you 20 gold.
Easily done.
Okay. Easily done. Okay. And that would leave the last point on the docket for now being modular crossbows. And you rolled a 17. You do find a couple tomes in regards to like various like you find one book of schematics that is all about like various different like drawn up like sketches, like concept work pieces of like various different types of like of either modular weapons or crossbows specifically. You would see like there's quite a few different types of modular weapons that are like on this list, like bows that are able to like split apart and be made into like either tonfas or blades. You can see other modular weapons in the form of like crossbows in the form that like that have different types of like firing types, like one that can switch between like semi and full auto. You can see like everything involving like everything from either mechanical tweaks to like motorized like proof of concept type, like not fully developed ideas, but definitely like a list of like interesting things that could be expanded upon with, you know, the right amount of technical expertise.
Hmm. Okay. Is there anything she can kind of glean of like maybe something that she could work on her downtime or something?
I would say that there definitely is.
If not like bolts or...
There definitely is like proof of concepts of bolts as well. like various ones that like there's like a proof of concept of like a very rudimentary type of healing arrow, so to speak, with like it being like an arrow shaft with like a with like either a spell imbued to the tip or a healing potion necessarily. But like, and you can see that a couple of these ideas have been like scratched out and like like better refined. But there is um one with like a touch based spell imbued into like a hacky sack kind of end to an arrow that upon direct contact, does cast like a like reduced cure wounds, so to speak. Besides that, though, there's like there's other forms of like magical ammunition, other forms of like mechanical modular upgrades that you can put onto the bow itself.
Would it be anything
interesting? I had an idea actually, since like you wanted to have like a modular weapon.
Well, it already is modular.
Oh no, it already is. But like, I was thinking of like, do you remember in Star Wars 5e how you could like add like little attachments to your weapons and stuff?
Yeah.
If there's anything from the SW5e like list that you think would make sense thematically, I would allow you to make an argument to allow me to put that on.
Oh man, I haven't looked at SW5e for a while. Holy
There's
shit.
quite a lot. There's quite a lot of stuff, but I'll let you do it since like, if I remember correctly, there even was like bow and crossbow, like light bow, crossbow weapons in that system that you could borrow inspiration from for that.
Yeah. I'd have to take a look.
Then yeah, by all means. I will let you grab anything from that. Within reason, of course, but again, just run it by me and I'll see how I feel about it. Okay. In the meantime, I think I'm going to loop back to Lux, and then after this last Lux segment, if there is nothing else, that's probably where I will cut it off. But yeah. All right. So, Lux. Returning to you. You find yourself being followed along by Maya, who's still like death bear clutching this, or sorry, death bear hugging this this very large sea bear that she's like dragging around with her. Where do you think you'd be in the midst of heading at this particular point?
Well, considering Lux still has no idea what this place technically is, like, he doesn't know any of the rhymes, right? Mm-hmm. So he would go off the most base ideas, and he heard the term funhouse. He doesn't know what that means, but it had the word fun in it.
Yeah. Okay, so are you going into the more silly funhouse or the spookier looking one? Because there definitely is a spookier looking one here.
You'd go to the closest. Do you want that to be a coin flip?
I will make it a coin flip. On a 1, it's the silly one. On a 2, it's the scary one. Silly one it is. Okay. So, you find yourself and Maya heading into the funhouse specifically. This one has like a bit of like a like an on rails experience type thing. Like you're able to like they sit you down into like a little mini shuttle, and they equip both of you, like you and Maya, each with a like little handheld like laser gun, so to speak. And the whole theme of this particular funhouse like experience, so to speak, is to battle off a race of basically like sentient space clowns, as you were like being led on rails through like this experience. Each of the clowns are like pop up, and they have like this this circle shaped target made of neon like around their around their chest that is made easy to basically fire at. And as you are kind of like seated and belted in, the whole theme is like carnival. The whole theme of this particular funhouse is carnival themed. So you're being brought through like a trapeze, and give me a. I think this would also just be a raw dex check, wouldn't it?
Or acrobatics, depending what you're talking about.
Uh,
But that's the same
No, no,
for me. But
yeah, true. But this would just be for like how many like targets you can hit in the meantime, like while you're being brought in this shuttle. Like how many of
that or an attack roll or whatever. It depends if you're proficient with like toy laser gun.
I'll let you like roll like a longbow.
Sure.
Sure. A 14. Oh wow, isn't that exactly what you rolled last time too? For your dexterity? It is. Nice. Yeah, so like above average. It seems that you and Maya are having a bunch of fun, like laughing and giggling together as you're like, blasting through this like veritable army of like flying space clowns, all of which are like in the midst of like throwing pies at one another and all sorts of like weird shenanigans going about. And you managed to get a pretty decently high score of like 250 points. Maya gets in the ballpark of like 179. She did fair enough for herself, this being her first time doing anything like this. But she seems to be very much pleased with herself and is very much like just in the midst of like laughing as she goes to find the bear that she left behind before getting on this ride.
Oh no, he would have put that in the bag of holding for her.
Oh, in the bag of holding? Okay. Oh,
it just
nice,
disappears.
Nice. True. Yeah, not wanting it to be stolen. All right, fair enough.
As I said, Lux never leaves his possessions behind.
Okay. Besides that, was there anything else on the docket that you would like to do while you're at this amusement park?
I'm not gonna. You know what, Josh? I know you weren't going to, but when you said there was going to be like space clowns in the thing, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be neat if you actually had like a moment of combat where you actually had an actual space clown attack us?
I wish. I wish. Maybe one day. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a callback like. It's like 30 sessions down the line. There's actual space clowns. But anyway, in the meantime, do you think that would be like? Do you think he would just spend like the rest of his day, just like, waiting until like the park closes? Like,
yeah, he'd probably just hang out and have fun with Maya for the park. I don't know if there's anything specific at the park he'd do.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's going to do stupid things like show off and be Lux, or, if sticky fingers should happen, but he's trying to be on his best behavior.
He's trying to be on his best behavior. Okay. Then I'll say that like for the rest of the afternoon, you guys bounce back and forth between like your favorite like establishments while like traversing this place. You guys I would say probably try every ride at least once, like the teacups and the pirate themed rocking boat that like almost goes all the way like completely around, that kind of thing. Maybe even ending the whole thing together on like a Ferris wheel as it begins to like look through. And even on this planet, even as you're like looking up through the shimmering waters, you can still see the sun is beginning to grow a little bit darker, as you guys like reach the crest, the highest point of the Ferris wheel. And Maya just kind of like looks over to you, Lux, and just kind of gives a soft smile and just goes, "Oh, thank you for all this today. This was really nice."
Oh, it's a right good time. I haven't actually been out to do something like this with someone my own age since never. He's just realizing it.
Hey, same. This is like a very like goofy smile on her face. And as the sun begins to like crest, you all are then brought from the crest point of the highest point of the Ferris wheel back down. You can hear the announcements going on through the speakers, talking about how the park is about to close in like a 20-minute time frame, I'd say. So Maya gives the idea to you to maybe pick up some some of the delicious saltwater taffy for the road, and gets herself like a nice batch of like the pink and lemonade flavored salt taffy, and we'll then like smile and thank you again for the experience before beginning to lead you on out, and hopefully back towards the ship.
Well,
And
hopefully we're unmolested. I can't imagine two children walking back in the night street by themselves is 100% safe.
not 100% safe, but Lux can take care of himself. He knows
But
how
let's
to
be
like.
honest, if anyone tried anything on the two of us, there would be one werewolf all of a sudden eating 3 months.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. So that's why I'm saying that like Lux can hold his own. Like there's yeah. And on that note, as you two make it back to the ship after a fun evening out, I think that's where I'm going to call tonight's session.
Woo! That was fun.
Ooh. All right. Nice.
Wag.
Thanks for the session, Josh.
Thanks for the session. I'm sorry, Crane. I hope, hopefully things, pan out for,
Well, it was
a
my
more...
idea to wait. Like I'm
I
fine
know.
waiting.
No, I know. I still feel bad.
I still see why you'd wait, though. It's kind of hard to do a 2-man job with 1 man there.
With one person. Yeah, exactly.
I did have another thing that now she
Okay.
might be looking into. Is there a way for her to find some sort of spell or anything to create a time dilation so she could spend more time doing downtime?
I would just like to learn that 9th level time stop spell if I could,
Yeah, casually.
to casually alter the fabric of time and space. Nothing major.
So
I know it.
Chronology magic is especially rare. There's not a lot of practicing chronologists, especially since the practice has mostly been deemed illegal by most magic practicing societies. But you can go ahead and give me a one last investigation check if you want. DC for this is incredibly high. We are looking at a DC 27, 28 for this.
So I have to roll that 20.
Okay.
Nope,
nothing in this particular establishment for such magic.
that's fine.
Even in the band section, nothing that you find is of note, or the restricted section, I should say.
Atlas is gonna try to find Zevi.
Okay.
And I guess fails.
Carly, you there?
Honey, you
Oh.
can probably find her. I mean, depends on how particular you are about finding her. Because I imagine I damned Josh something, but I imagine she's just kind of hanging out, but not exactly on the show.
Josh, did we install Find My Friend on the phones?
Yeah, probably for like precautionary measures, sure.
If only
I
to
guess
keep
I'll
a
use
fucking
that.
tab on Lux.
like a little keychain based device that like is linked to each phone to be like, hey, I'm over here. If ever you get too lost, sure, why not?
I'll also use that to go find her.
Okay.
Where's she at?
People watching.
Yeah,
People watching?
people watching.
Yeah, like sitting on a park bench somewhere, just like watching the people around.
See anything interesting, Zevi?
Not what I was looking for, but I've seen some things.
Well, we got something for you. He'll pull out like three huge thermos cups and set them down next to her.
What is this?
Well, I was thinking about your current dietary needs, and I happened to come across an individual that sold blood. This blood in these containers are that of a brass dragon.
How peculiar. I'm excited.
I figured perhaps this is a little more subdued and easier than carrying around, body
Corrupted.
parts.
Yes, it is. How fared your day? Did you come across anything interesting?
Yes, I managed to purchase a 10-inch fragment of an Elysian bone shard.
And what do you plan to do with it?
I'm going to make something with it and the mithril. And I still need one final piece. Maybe I'll look out and we'll find it on the volcano world.
The volcano world?
Yes, where we're going next.
Of course.
You forgot, didn't you?
She'll lift up her sunglasses and say, information shared between Zevi and I is a little different. He remembered, I did not.
Blinks. Ah. Did not expect this.
Neither did I. It's been a lovely day.
That's so? How long are you out?
A couple of hours now.
Interesting. I didn't know you could stay out for that long.
When I am not recalling anything too sensitive or communing with spirits, it is a lot easier to just sit here. I found a book that I remember from my life.
A book from your life.
I remember reading it long ago.
What kind of book is that?
Book and show it to Alice. Zevi trusts you, so what is the harm?
He looks at the book. I forgot what the book was, though. My ADHD brain.
It is The Creation of Void Creatures.
Huh. It's an unusual topic. Illuminating, I'm sure.
Given that I was a different one, it is of interest, I suppose.
It makes sense that you would have read this. I think, anyway. Though I must admit I was expecting probably some other kind of book. I don't know.
I purchased it, much to my dismay. That's Zevi's insistence.
As opposed to what, stealing it?
It was covered in dust. No one would have noticed.
Perhaps. Perhaps not. Maybe the dust was planted. He jokes.
You are funny. Perhaps we will get you a tinfoil hat.
I believe we call those helmets.
Fuck. That's good, Nano. Shit. Not quite what I was referring to, but... Well, thank you for this. Zevi is appreciative.
Of course. Well, I'm expecting to meet somebody at some point today, so I'll leave you to your people watching.
Yes, I will return once I found what I am looking for. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks for
Back to
reminding me,
the
by the way.
ship.
I'm going to put that in the session info so I don't forget. There, go.
Lothario will put the shade back on and continue people watching.
Nice. What kind of shades would she be wearing, by the way? Just so I have a visual.
Oh, they're so
Aviator.
cunty. They're like cat eye shaped with like little gems on them. like they're so gaudy. Like the 70s like gaudy cat eye sunglasses.
They're bedazzled.
Now I need to see them. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Rhinestones everywhere. God.
Yeah, like gaudy fucking 70s cat eye glasses.
Like the one the old lady's always wearing in the casinos in Vegas.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, maybe those might be a bit much, but...
Like pretty much exactly this was what I had in mind when I was describing them.
I'm gonna post what I was thinking, too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Of one of those you always see those freaking ladies wearing the casinos.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, wait, where did I just post that?
You just put that in the fucking cum committee, bro.
Oh, no! Hold on. Get it. Nope, gone. No one saw it. That's fine.
I saw it.
Nope. There we go.
Yeah, no, kind of like that. Like, just black. Again, they're so cunty. Like,
I love that. Love that for her.
yeah. Alright.
Sorry for the very lore-droppy session, but here we are.
Dude, we were just in a... this was an RP session. Like, we knew we couldn't continue with one of the main people missing for the important part.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just means
But
we
hey,
got
we
it
did
out of
get
the way
we did
for
get a lot
next
of fun
time.
stuff.
Yeah, next
That's
time we
true.
can get into the mix.
Mm-mm.
Alright, Pat, go to bed.
Oh man. What
Alright,
the fuck?
it's you past your bedtime.
Yeah, by like 8 hours.
Yeah. Rude.
Pat, if you want to stay up, we can watch Meth Gator.
I don't want to watch Meth Game. Okay, I'm going to bed. Never mind.
Oh,
Bye.
Bye.
That easy. Just mention Meth Gator.
it's
What
that
is
easy.
Meth
Just
Gator?
mention Meth Gator.
Like the
Is
sequel
that
to
like Cocaine Bear,
Yeah,
but in Florida?
exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I
Same
found
thing,
3 movies. There's Cocaine Bear, Meth
Uh-huh.
Gator, and Crack-Coon.
Raccoon.
That's a
Yep.
slur.
Crack-Coon.
That's a
That actually
So
is kind
again-
of really does sound like a slur-based novel.
Slurpee. Slurpee! I'm stealing that. I'm using that.
No, you're not. Stop it.
Oh
Put
my
it down.
god. No, I need to. It's so funny.
Okay, Jack, there's a thing that I want to do, but